Welcome to this 30-minute Pilates workout, including stretches and mobility. We're going to start gently rotating through the lower back. So on the next exhalation, knees go over to the side. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale gently with control. Knees go over to the other side. So be in control of this movement. Don't let the knees flop towards the floor. Turn the head in the opposite direction as the knees. Get that full rotation from the crown of the head to the tailbone. The belly button pulled in, keep the shoulders in contact with the mat, shoulder blades in contact with the mat also. And as we think about that rotation through the lower back, we can start to take the feet a little bit wider, mat width apart to begin with, and then gently allow the knees to drop towards the floor. So you should feel like get a deeper stretch on the outside hip, down the outside of that top leg. Try and let that top knee relax in towards the mat. Every time you come back to center, take the knees a tiny bit wider, feet a tiny bit wider, and allow that stretch to deepen in the outside of the hips, as well as continuing to get to that rotation through the lower back. Be in control again all the way through that rotation. You can hold it each time you go to the side. Next time, knees are back to center, bring them together. And then we're rolling over to one side. We're going to bring ourselves onto all fours, preparing for some cat stretches. So hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. We're going to work from the tailbone up to the crown of the head, one vertebra at a time. Try and keep the shoulders over the hands, hips over the knees. Exhale, belly button pulls in, tilt the pelvis, round through the lower back, mid back, upper back, neck, head. Inhale there. And then exhale, return the spine to that start position. So we're trying to sequentially move one vertebra before the next. So don't move it as one chunk. Try and think of it as 20 or so individual movements. And then focusing just on the lower back, the lumbar part of the spine. So tilting the pelvis, hips to ribs, work through the pelvis, the lower back, inhale there, and then exhale, pelvis, lower back comes back to that start position. So maybe 8 movements in total, just focusing on the lower part of the spine, that abdominal engagement, belly buttons pulled in, ribs to hips, get that flexion through the lower back, tiny movement, bring it back to that neutral, that start position. Few more of these. Try and focus on the mobility, the flexibility, keeping the head still, keeping the upper mid back in the same position. And then when you're ready, you can take the weight off the wrist, push back into a shell stretch, bring the backside as close to the heels as is comfortable for you. Relax the head, the shoulders, breathe wide into the sides and the back of the rib cage. So rest position, relaxing here. This is comfortable for you. Wide breathing into the sides and the back of the rib cage. And then when you're ready, on the next exhalation, belly button pulls in from the tailbone, restack the spine one vertebra at a time. And then we're going to bring ourselves back down onto the mat to lie on our backs, focusing on some more mobility through the tailbone, pelvis, lower back, mid back with some hip rolls. So you got feet hip distance apart, ankles, knees, hips aligned, shoulders relaxed. On the exhalation, belly button pulls in, pelvis tilt, start to lift the lower back, the mid back, bring the hips up to wherever's most comfortable for you to begin with. Inhale here, and then exhale, slowly lower mid back, lower back, pelvis back to that start position. So again, sequentially moving one vertebra at a time before the next. Mobility is the focus through the lower back, through the mid back. Try and keep the toes relaxed, keep the weight equal through the feet, keep the ankles, knees, hips aligned. So try not to let the knees drift apart. And then slowly, sequentially, mid back, lower back, pelvis back to that start position. So if you imagine the spine is a string of pearls, you're lifting that string of pearls off a work surface, off a table. And as you lift one pearl, it lifts, the next pearl lifts, the next pearl lifts. So that's that sequential movement, that imagery you're looking for to mobilize in this exercise. If you can, now you've got some mobility, some flexibility. You're thinking ribs, hips, knees in one line at the top. So a diagonal line between the rib cage, the hips, and the knees. focusing on that weight equal through the feet, trying not to let the knees drift apart. Just using the glutes, the hamstrings to extend. But again, focusing on the mobility, flexibility. Next time, backside's on the mat. You can hug the knees into the chest, shoulders, neck relaxed, gently softening the lower back towards the mat. And then again, rest position, breathing into the sides and the back of the rib cage, taking a few breaths here, knees into the chest, gently relaxing, softening the lower back towards the mat. Next, we're going to open up the hips. So keep the right knee hugged in, slide the left leg long on the mat, and then gently draw that right knee up towards the right shoulder whilst relaxing that left leg onto the floor. Drawing that knee in a little bit further, opening up the hips, changing legs, left knee in towards the body, right leg slides along this time. Relaxing the head and shoulders onto the mat, drawing that left knee up towards the left shoulder, relaxing that right leg onto the mat, opening up that right hip, and then thinking about drawing that right knee back in towards the body. And then we're just going to gently rock the knees side to side with the knees hugged into the chest. If you wish, turn the head in the opposite direction, and then we're floating the feet back down onto the mat. We're coming back onto all fours. Going to go back to the cat stretch, get some mobility through the lower back, the lumbar. So hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. And then gently pulling the belly button towards the spine, tilting the pelvis. Ribs and hips come closer together, creating a tiny bit of roundness through the lower back. Again, if you can, keep the shoulders over the hands, hips over the knees, tilting the pelvis, belly button pulls in, ribs and hips slide closer together, creating that sequential movement from the tailbone to about the lowest rib on the back of the rib cage. Flexibility, mobility being gained into the lower back. And then we're taking the weight off the wrist, pushing back into a shell stretch, the backside somewhere near the heels of the feet, relaxing the arms, the head, the shoulders, rest position, breathing wide into the sides and the back of the rib cage. Take a few breaths here, relaxing the forehead on the mat if you can. When you're ready, restack the tailbone, the pelvis, the lower back, mid back, upper back, neck, head. And then moving on to a bit of spine stretch forward. So coming to a seated position, you can have the knees bent if you wish. You can have the legs straight, whichever works for you. But sit nice and tall on your sit bones. Hands down by the sides of the legs, crown of the head up towards the ceiling. Inhale, chin tucks in. Try not to jam the chin to the chest. Exhale, belly button pulls in, ribs to hips. Go forwards over the thighs. Inhale here, exhale, sitting nice and tall. So chin tucks in, down the neck, upper back, mid back. Inhale to hold, exhale, restack, sit taller, 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 taller. And again, exhale, crown of the head, neck, upper back, mid back, ribs to hips. Flex the feet if you can, toes back towards you. Inhale to hold, exhale, restack, mid back, upper back, neck, then head. So again, sequentially, one vertebra at a time, going forwards over the thighs. Inhale there, exhale, sequentially restacking the spine, sitting nice and tall. So although we're moving, neck, upper back, mid back, pelvis wants to stay in exactly the same position. So bony points on the bottom of the pelvis, the sit bones stay in exactly the same position as we sequentially move from the crown of the head down to about the lowest rib on the back of the rib cage to begin with, and then lowest rib on the back of the rib cage to the crown of the head, restacking, sitting nice and tall. Again, I want a bit more movement. Think about bending the knee so you can get a little bit forwards over the thighs, a bit more flexion, flexibility through the upper mid back. And then restacking, sitting taller, 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 taller every time you come back to that start position. So creating length through the crown of the head, every time you come and sit back nice and tall. A couple more of these, trying to get a bit more length through the hamstrings, back of the thighs. Flex the feet, toes back towards you as you go forwards over the thighs. Hopefully getting a bit closer with the chest towards the legs, increasing that range of movement. And then the next time you're sat nice and tall, going to come back down onto the mat, lying on your back, feet flat on the floor, knees bent, length through the back of the neck. Take hold of a band of some description. So bring around the ball of the right foot. We're gently going to stretch out the hamstrings a little bit more, get a little bit more length through the back of the legs, through back of the calf, straightening the leg up towards ceiling. You can keep the left knee bent, or you can straighten the left leg long. Flex that right foot back towards you. Push that heel up, keeping the shoulders, the neck relaxed. If you can, keep the natural curve through the lower back. This time, pelvis is neutral. Breathing into the sides and the back of the rib cage. So rib cage is sliding down, belly button's pulled in. Lengthening on each exhalation. If you can, draw the leg up a little bit further. Changing legs. So bend the right knee in, slide it into the band. Right foot can be flat on the floor. Right knee bent. A left leg's going to straighten long this time, up towards the ceiling, towards the sky. Left knee straight, left foot flexed. Stay there with the right knee bent, or if you wish, you can slide that right leg long, opening the front of that right hip as you stretch through the back of the left leg, across the back of the left knee, left calf. Flex that left foot back towards you, shoulders relaxed, neck relaxed, natural curve through the lower back, pelvis neutral, head and shoulders relaxed if that's comfortable. And then bending that left knee in, releasing the band, hugging the knees into the chest, shoulders relaxed, and neck relaxed. Are softening the lower back towards the mat this time, trying to get a bit of flexion through the lumbar. Pelvis is tilted. And if you wish, gently rock the knees side to side, gently turn the head side to side. And then we're going to think about a gentle twist through the lower back. So keep the right knee hugged in, straighten the left leg long. Keep hold of that right knee with the left hand. Gently draw the right knee across the body, twisting through the right hand side of the spine. Right shoulder blade stays in contact with the mat. You can turn the head to look down, the right arm towards the right hand. On each exhalation, gently allow the right hip, right knee to come round a little bit further. On each exhalation, increase that gentle stretch through the right hip, right side of the lower back, but keep the right shoulder blade in contact with the mat. You can use that left hand to gently draw the right knee across. On the next exhalation, slowly come back to center. Hug the knees in, changing legs, right leg long, left knee stays hugged in. Right hand can be on the outside of that left knee. Gently draw that left knee across the body. Turn the head to look down the left arm, left shoulder blade on the mat. And then on each exhalation, if you wish, use that right hand to draw that left knee across the body a little bit further, deepening that stretch into the outside of the left hip, down the outside of the left-hand side of the spine, gently twisting, gently rotating, gently increasing the flexibility through the outside of the left hip, wherever is tight on that left-hand side of the body. A few more breaths here. Use that right hand to gently increase that stretch on each exhalation. When you're ready, belly button pulls in, slowly come back to center. Feet flat on the floor, knees bent, hugging the knees into the chest. Again, softening the lower back towards the mat. Resting here, few breaths, sides and the back of the rib cage. We're breathing into. And then floating the feet back, or floating the left foot back down onto the mat, bringing the right ankle across the left knee. Keeping that right knee out to the right hand side, float the left foot off the mat. Hands can count around the back of the left thigh, front of the left shin, ready to stretch a little bit deeper into the right hip. Thinking about stretching the piriformis, our external rotators on the hips. Drawing the left knee towards the left shoulder, keeping head and shoulders relaxed, tilting the pelvis, softening the lower back towards the floor. Again, on each exhalation, if it's comfortable, gently draw that left knee in a little bit closer. Careful of any pressure on the right knee. And then when you're ready, change legs. So left ankle over the top of the right knee this time. Left knee out to the left-hand side. Float the right foot off the mat. Hands around the back of the right thigh, front of the right shin. On each exhalation, softening the lower back towards the floor, tilting the pelvis. Right knee comes towards the right shoulder. Shoulders, neck relaxed. And then deepening the stretch into that left hip, left external rotators. Breathing, relaxing, head and shoulders onto the mat. Taking that stretch deeper each time you gently draw that right knee towards the right shoulder. But again, no pressure on the left knee. If it is, release the stretch, touch. Everything wants to be felt in the outside of the hip, nothing in the knee. And then floating the feet back down onto the mat. It's going to stretch another muscle on the outside of the hips this time. So we're going to bring the right leg all the way over the left leg. Floating the left foot off the mat, hands take hold of the right knee. This time we're trying to draw the right knee in the direction of the left shoulder. But we don't want to twist through the pelvis, don't want to twist through the lower back, just want to draw the right knee in the direction of the left shoulder. This time we're stretching out glute med on the right hip. So an abductor, changing legs when you're ready. Left knee taken hold of the hands and drawn towards the right shoulder, stretching on the outside of the left hip. Again, careful not to twist through the lower back, careful not to twist through the pelvis. Hips to ribs, soften the lower back towards the mat. Shoulders, neck relaxed, and on each exhalation, without any tension on the inside of the left hip, see if you can draw the left knee towards the right shoulder. Floating the feet back down onto the mats, stretching the inside of the thighs this time. Gently bring the soles of the feet together, take the knees wide, allow the knees to relax towards the floor, making sure that you're not overarching through the lower back. If the back does start to arch, use the abdominal muscles to tilt the pelvis back, slide the ribs towards the hips, almost softening the lower back towards the floor, but still allow the knees to relax towards the mat. On the next exhalation, belly button pulls in. Slowly bring the knees back to center. We're rolling over onto one side. We're coming on to all fours once again, taking the focus back to our lumbar cat stretch, our half cat stretch. So hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips, using the abdominal muscles, tilting the pelvis, rib cage slides down, getting some more movement, some more flexibility, some more mobility through the lower back. So belly buttons pulled in, ribs and hips, tailbones tucks under, almost taking the lower back up towards the sky, towards the ceiling. Keep the shoulders over the hands, hips over the knees. They've got about half a dozen, 8 movements from the tailbone to about the lowest rib on the back of the rib cage. And then when you're ready, take the weight off the wrists, push back into a shell stretch, backside somewhere near the heels of the feet. Relax the arms, the head, the shoulders. A rest position, breathe wide into the sides and the back of the rib cage. Relaxing the forehead onto the mat. Sinking into the hips, sliding the ribs towards the hips. So we're still thinking about a roundness from the tailbone to the crown of the head. Breathing wide, relaxing. Shoulders, neck relaxed. And then when you're ready, from the tailbone, restack the spine 1 vertebra at a time, bringing ourselves to a seated position where we're going to have the feet flat on the floor, knees bent, feet just wider than hip distance apart. We can have the hands behind the body so we can rest as we think about gently taking the knees side to side, hips coming round, in a bit of a rotation through the lower back as well. Knee relaxes towards the floor. Getting that rotation, getting that internal rotation in the hip, slowly bringing that outside knee towards the floor, shoulders relaxed if you can, moving, rotating, taking the weight from one side of the pelvis to the other. So we're getting rotation through the lower back. We're getting internal rotation on one leg, external rotation on the other. Gently relaxing the knee towards the floor. And then we're going to come on to all fours. And then from that position, kneeling nice and tall, we're going to bring the left foot through so it's flat on the floor, knee up towards the ceiling, stretching the hip flexor. So stretching the muscles on the front of the right hip. Have the hands on the floor to begin with. Then you can think about bringing the hands, arms to relax on that left knee. If you want to take the stretch a little bit deeper, we can think about taking the fingertips up over the head, shoulders away from the ears, stretching out the front of that right hip, right thigh. And as that starts to ease off, you can gently take the left knee forwards, taking the weight into the left foot. And then when you're ready, we can change legs. Left knee comes back underneath hips, right foot comes forwards. Again, start with the chest on the thigh, hands on the floor. Or we can think about bringing the hands, elbow, forearms onto that right knee, right thigh. And again, if you want to deepen that stretch a little bit further, we can think about taking the arms up towards the ceiling, towards the sky, shoulders away from the ears, stretching out the front of that left hip, bending the right knee a little bit further, taking the weight forwards in towards the right foot. On each exhalation, gently easing the hips forwards, deepening the stretch to the front of that left hip, shoulders relaxed. Few more breaths here, opening up the front of that left hip, stretching the front of the left thigh. And then when you're ready, we can think about floating the hands back down onto the mat, bringing that right foot back underneath the hips, taking the weight off the wrists. Going to have another shell stretch here, creating that roundness through the spine, forehead relax on the mat, arms relaxed, shoulders relaxed, gently softening the pelvis towards the heels of the feet, breathing into the sides and the back of the rib cage, taking a few moments rest here. And when we're ready, we can think about restacking the tailbone, pelvis, lower back, mid back, upper back, neck, then head. Coming back to a seated position, to your favorite saw position, saw exercise. So sitting nice and tall, feet are as wide, legs are as wide, as comfortable as the hips can manage, and then arms out to the side. You're going to inhale, rotate, exhale, little finger reaches towards opposite little toe. Inhale, restacks it, taller, taller, taller. Exhale, come back to center. So inhale, one way. Exhale, fingertip towards a little toe. Inhale, restacks it, taller, taller, taller. Shoulders relaxed. Exhale, come back to center. So we're keeping the weight equal through the sit bones. Try not to let the pelvis tilt side to side. Feet flexed, pushing the heels away, getting the length through the back of the thighs, as well as that rotation, flexion as we go through the spine, as we go forwards towards the leg, shoulders away from the ears. Each time you come back, tops of the ears up in towards the sky, lengthening through the spine, getting more and more range of movement. So hopefully the little finger is going a little bit closer towards the little toe. Each time we're reaching forwards, we're sitting taller, We're getting more range of movement, more flexibility, more mobility. Next time you're back to center, float the arms back down. We're coming back on to all fours. We're going to take the focus back to our lumbar flexion and our half cat. So we're just going to think about tilting the pelvis, tailbone tucks under, belly button pulls in, ribs and hips come a little bit closer together, getting that flexion from the tailbone to the crown of the head, shoulders over the hands, hips over the knees. And then we can shorten that movement just to focus on the lower back, keeping the head still, keeping the upper back still, just focusing on tilting the pelvis, tailbone down towards the floor, trying to get as much movement, much mobility, as much flexibility through the lower back whilst engaging the deep abdominal muscles, strengthening those muscles in between the ribs and the hips. And when you completed your last one, you can take the weight off the wrist, push back into a shell stretch, hopefully get a bit more roundness from the tailbone to the crown of the head. Forehead's relaxed on the mat. Hips are coming a little bit closer towards the heels of the feet. Resting here, breathing into the sides and the back of the rib cage. And then restacking on the exhalation, tailbone, pelvis, lower back, mid back, upper back, neck, then head. And then however's most comfortable for you, we're going to come back to standing. Going to have feet hip distance apart, ankles, knees, hips aligned. And then we're going to think about a few roll downs from the crown of the head. You can do these freestanding, you can do these up against the wall. Inhale, chin tucks in, try not to jam the chin to the chest. Exhale, work your way down the neck, the upper back, the mid back, the lower back. Let the arms hang, shoulders relaxed, neck, head relaxed. Inhale here, exhale, slowly roll yourselves up sequentially, one vertebra at a time. So try not to jam the chin to the chest as you roll down. Work sequentially towards the tailbone. Bend the knees if you need to take the pressure off the hips, the hamstrings, the lower back. Breathe wide into the sides of the back of the rib cage. Inhale to hold, exhale. Sequentially restack one vertebra at a time. And again, from the crown of the head, one vertebra at a time. Try and keep the weight in the toes, balls of the feet if you're free standing. Don't worry about touching the floor. Don't worry about touching the toes. Just focus on the mobility, the flexibility, the sequential movement from one end of the spine to the next. Inhale to hold at the bottom and then sequentially restacking the spine one vertebra at a time. So belly button's pulled in. 3 more of these. So keeping the weight equal through the feet, toes, balls of the feet, rolling down the spine one vertebra at a time. Inhale to hold, and then exhale, restack. Tailbone, pelvis, lower back, mid back, upper back, neck, then head. Last 2. Crown of the head first. Try not to jam the chin towards the chest. Bend the knees. If you need to, take the weight off, the pressure off the hips, the tailbone, the lower back. And then when you restack, start to straighten the knees, the legs, one vertebra at a time, coming back to stand nice and tall. Last one of these roll downs. So don't worry about touching the toes. Don't worry about touching the floor. Just think about trying to get more flexibility, mobility each time you roll down. And then coming to stand taller, taller, taller. And then we'll finish off with some lateral flexion, some side bends. So feet hip distance apart, hands down the sides of the legs, and then you're sliding one hand at a time down the side of the legs. Try and take the hips side to side, so you're transferring the weight from foot to foot, getting a bit more range of movement each time you do so. And if you wish, you can lengthen one arm up towards the ceiling, towards the sky, as you take the hip in the other direction. If you wish, you can have one hand on the hip as the other arm reaches up pushing the pelvis, pushing the lower body out to the side as the arm goes over to the opposite side. Fantastic. Hips side to side, shoulders relaxed, lengthening, stretching down the side of the body. Trying to take the hips over, and then next time you're back to center. Well done. All over. Hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button. See you next time.